Good morning, everyone. On behalf of our Mayor, Karen Bass, thank you for being here this morning and allowing us the opportunity to celebrate the successes of the Los Angeles Police Department for 2025. What you see before you and what you will see in the report is so much more than just charts and graphs, numbers and figures. They actually represent the collaborative vision of our mayor and our city council and their collaboration and commitment to keeping Angelenos safe. You will also see in that report the commitment of our chief of police, Jim McDonnell, and his commitment and his command staff's commitment to also keeping Los Angeles and Angelenos safe. You will also see a tremendous collaboration between our community partners, our faith-based organizations, our community stakeholders, and their partnership and commitment with the Los Angeles Police Department to keep our city safe. But most importantly, in this report, you will see the results of untold collaboration between our community, our residents, and the Los Angeles Police Department, and collectively keeping our city safe, reducing crime, reducing fear of crime, and making sure that we are working in a collaborative partnership to continue to make Angelenos safe and the city of Los Angeles safe. So to provide you with some context of the charts and graphs that you will see, I'd like to introduce our Chief of Police, Jim McDonnell.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for being here and joining us this morning. Today, we're releasing the LAPD's end-of-year crime data, as detailed in our 2025 Annual Review of Crime and Initiatives. This report reflects our commitment to transparency, accountability, and providing the public with a clear understanding of where crime stands in Los Angeles today. This annual review is intended to inform the conversation about public safety, not to drive fear or oversimplified conclusions. Crime data matters, but numbers alone never tell the full story. Context matters. Los Angeles is a complex city. Crime trends are influenced by many factors beyond policing, including economic condition, population changes, substance abuse, homelessness, legislative decisions, and access to services. Policing plays a critical role in public safety, but it is one of a much larger system. That's why this report relies on verified data and standardized reporting practices, and why it emphasizes transparency. Our goal is to be clear, accurate, and honest about what the data shows, including both progress and ongoing challenges. With that framing in mind, I want to start with one of the most serious measures of public safety, homicides. The data in this year's report shows that homicides in Los Angeles are down, both in total number and as a percentage compared to last year. In 2025, there were 230 homicides, a reduction of 19% from the year before, when city experienced 284 homicides. This is the lowest number of homicides since 1966. A reduction in homicides means fewer families experiencing that devastating loss and fewer communities living with the lasting trauma that violence creates. This decline did not happen by chance. It reflects the focused and deliberative work by the men and women of the LAPD, including targeted violence reduction strategies, intelligence-led policing, and CompStat-driven deployment. It also reflects partnerships with community organizations and other public safety agencies working toward the same goal, since public safety is a shared responsibility. I'm also proud of the relentless follow-up work of our investigators. Of the 230 homicides in 2025, 156, or 68%, were cleared, and an additional 76 homicides from prior years were closed as well. Thus, our citywide homicide clearance rate for 2025 was 101%, which includes closed cases from 2025 as well as years prior. Most importantly, these efforts demonstrate the tireless work of our Robbery Homicide Division investigators. While any loss of life is unacceptable, the reduction in homicides is a meaningful indicator that these strategies are having an impact and that focused efforts to address the most serious violent offenses are working. At the same time, this report is clear, and I want to be clear, that progress in one area does not mean that our work is done. Other violent crime categories show mixed results, and property crime and quality of life issues remain real concerns for many Angelenos. We're not minimizing those challenges, and we're certainly not ignoring them. There was an 8% decline in the number of shooting victims in 2025, down to 899 in 25 from 981 in 2024. We believe one of the factors impacting that reduction is taking more guns off the street. In 2025, 8,650 firearms were seized by the LAPD. That's over 1,000 more firearms than in comparison to 2024 numbers. In 2025, our department advanced crime reduction through data-driven enforcement and strong community partnerships, leading to significant crimes in both property and violent crimes. Focused patrols, advanced technology, and dismantling organized burglary theft crews have all contributed to these results. We've enhanced our ability to combat the burglary problem plaguing some of the neighborhoods across the city through the efforts of Metropolitan Division, the Burglary Suppression Detail. This team identifies the most prolific burglary suspects and crews, some with a nexus to local street gangs, develops actionable investigative leads, and supports case filings to hold the most prolific burglars accountable. Through Metropolitan Division's efforts, 109 total burglary arrests were made, with 26 burglary crews identified and 22 firearms recovered in the process. Our approach centers on precision policing, using crime data, trend analysis, and real-time intelligence to deploy resources where they have the greatest impact. That means focusing on the individuals, locations, and behavior that are driving the most serious crime, rather than applying a one-size-fits-all approach. These strategies emphasize prevention as much as enforcement. By identifying patterns early and responding proactively, we're working to interrupt violence before it occurs, particularly in communities most affected by violent crime. Strong investigative work remains a core component of our crime reduction efforts. That includes follow-through on serious cases, coordination across divisions and specialized units, and close collaboration with prosecutors and partner agencies. Our successes reflect the power of collaboration and intelligence sharing across jurisdictional boundaries. The power of these collaborative efforts was demonstrated most recently this past December through the successful disruption of a coordinated domestic terror plot, which underscores the threat posed to our communities by extremist groups. This incident served as a testament to the strength of a unified response, with LAPD's Counterterrorism Special Operations Bureau working in conjunction with the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. Other notable joint operations include the efforts of LAPD's Gang and Narcotics Division, who in 2025 made 1,026 total arrests and removed 2,303 firearms from the streets, preventing further harm to community members. The strategies outlined in this report also recognize the importance of partnerships with community organizations, with other city departments, community stakeholders, as well as residents, because lasting crime reduction requires a coordinated effort with engaged community members. Nobody knows the issues within an area, what's going on, better than the people who live in that area. So our partnership with residents of the city is critically important to our public safety efforts. In 2025, I was honored to accept the International Association of Chiefs of Police Leadership in Community Policing Award on behalf of the department. The award recognized the Community Safety Partnership Bureau's innovative community-based program and its continued commitment to community-centered approach to policing. Ultimately, these crime reduction strategies are about accountability, effectiveness, and public trust. They guide how we deploy our officers, how we evaluate outcomes, and how we continuously adjust our approach to improve safety across Los Angeles. The 2025 annual review also addresses significant incidents that tested the department's operational capacity, most notably the Pacific Palisades fire. Our officers responded quickly and decisively to protect residents and secure property following the evacuations. This event demonstrated the importance of training, preparation, and coordination across multiple agencies. The response to the fire highlighted the department's ability to rapidly deploy resources, maintain situational awareness, and adapt to evolving challenges. It also reinforced our commitment to community safety and public communication, ensuring residents were informed and supported throughout the incident. Events like this remind us that public safety is not only about crime, but also about our readiness to respond to emergencies and disasters, and our ongoing efforts to maintain a highly trained, adaptable, and prepared workforce. Another key area covered in the annual review is operational readiness for civil unrest and large-scale public demonstrations. The LAPD remains committed to protecting the rights of every Angelino while balancing public safety during high-profile or potentially volatile events. This requires careful planning, clear command structures, and coordination with other city agencies. Our approach emphasizes de-escalation, communication, precision deployment, while ensuring that officers are equipped, trained, and prepared for a wide range of scenarios. The department continuously evaluates lessons learned from past demonstrations to improve tactics, safety measures, and engagement strategies. Our goal is to maintain public trust while ensuring the peaceful assembly is respected and that public safety is upheld for everyone involved. Additionally, we recognize the critical importance of our media partners in providing vital information to the public, particularly during large-scale assemblies, to include those deemed unlawful, and we're committed to fulfilling the obligations of accommodating our media partners as they perform this important task. The annual review also highlights our traffic safety issues, which remain a critical part of public safety in Los Angeles. Traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries are oftentimes preventable, and our efforts are focused on reducing dangerous driving behaviors that put lives at risk. This includes targeted enforcement, data-driven deployment, and coordination with other city and regional partners. We're prioritizing violations that are most closely linked to serious collisions, including speeding, impaired driving, reckless driving, and failure to yield. These initiatives are about saving lives, improving roadway safety, and ensuring that everyone, drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists, can move safely throughout our city. An initiative I'm excited to share today is the department's continued expansion of the Drone as a First Responder program. This program allows us to quickly gain situational awareness during critical incidents, often before officers arrive at the scene. That real-time information helps improve decision-making, enhances officer safety, and can reduce the need for more intrusive responses. The program is used with strict oversight and accountability, but it's proven to be a valuable tool in responding to emergencies, locating suspects, and supporting search and rescue operations. Technology, like Drone as a First Responder program, supports our goal of smarter, more precise policing while maintaining transparency and public trust. Over the past year, we've made substantial progress on one of our most significant modernization initiatives, the development of a real-time crime center. These centers will bring together technology, analytics, and trained personnel to provide officers and investigators with timely information during active incidents. That support can improve response, coordination, and investigative outcomes. Real-time crime centers help us connect data across systems, identify patterns, and support follow-up investigations, all while operating within established policies and legal frameworks. They are an important component of our data-driven approach to crime reduction and public safety. We currently have a pilot program of personnel from Information Technology Bureau working closely with the Office of Operations and Central Area, which has proven the advantages of this technology, as well as the coordinated support it provides to officers in the field. With promising yet demanding times ahead for the city, as we prepare to host events that will place us on the global stage, we remain steadfast in our efforts to attract, hire, and retain qualified candidates with a focus on identifying the best of the best who reflect the diversity and values of the communities that we serve. Our focus on hiring includes modernizing recruitment strategies, streamlining hiring processes, and expanding our outreach. Recruitment and hiring remains one of the department's most significant long-term challenges and priorities, and my utmost priority is doing everything in my power to support and protect our already diminishing workforce. Building a strong workforce is essential to public safety. It directly impacts response times, investigative capacity, officer wellness, and the department's ability to meet community expectations. We remain focused on hiring professionals who are committed to service, accountability, and ethical policing. Additionally, the annual review discusses organizational realignment efforts within the department. These changes are designed to improve efficiency, strengthen accountability, and better align resources with current public safety needs. As the city evolves and new challenges emerge, the department must adapt. The realignment took into account the lack of resources and efficiencies within our organization. In order to better support our core function of patrolling the city of Los Angeles, we redeployed 1 deputy chief, 4 captains, 10 lieutenants, 75 sergeants, 14 detectives, and 533 police officers back to patrol operations within the Office of Operation. Organizational realignment allows us to streamline operations, reduce redundancy, and ensure that specialized expertise is being used where it can have the greatest impact. These efforts support a more agile, responsive department that is better positioned to serve all of the people of Los Angeles. The data in this annual review directly informs how we deploy resources, set priorities, and refine our strategies moving forward. It is not just a year-end snapshot, it's a tool for continuous improvement. In closing, this year's data reflects a department that is working with purpose, guided by data, and committed to reducing the most serious forms of violence. We recognize that crime impacts neighborhoods differently, and our responses must reflect that reality. We will continue to focus on precision policing, strong investigation, and meaningful partnerships with the communities that we're privileged to serve. Although we're encouraged by the reduction in homicides, we're not satisfied. Each number, each data point reflects a life impacted. There is more work to do, and we remain committed to delivering safety, service, and fairness to every Angelino. I appreciate all of you, our media partners, for being here today and raising the public's awareness of the LAPD's efforts to strengthen public safety for all. Also, I encourage all of you to visit lapdonline.org, where you can get a copy of the 2025 annual review that I've talked about here today. Thank you all for being here. It's now my pleasure to introduce Council Member John Lee, who is also the Council's Chair of the Public Safety Committee. Council Member. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Let me just start by expressing my gratitude to the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department who work day in and day out to keep our community safe, often without recognition and always under difficult circumstances. It's never an easy job, but always one worth doing. The stats being shared today are so incredibly important because, to me, they show something that I have known for a long time, that when we invest in our law enforcement, we see safer neighborhoods and real results. To me, those numbers aren't just data points. They represent tangible outcomes on our city streets. Behind every statistic is a family that didn't come home to a broken door, a business that wasn't burglarized, or a neighborhood that feels safer than it did 1 year ago. In my district, the work coming out of LAPD's Devonshire and Topanga Division shows exactly why focused policing and strong investigative work matter. Over the past year, officers went after organized burglary crews that were cycling through Valley neighborhoods, leaving residents feeling targeted and vulnerable. And as a result, Devonshire Division is now experiencing burglary levels at a 4-year low. According to LAPD's own internal analysis, it shows this decrease. What makes that progress especially meaningful is that Council District 12 already began with relatively low crime stats, and yet through continued investment, support, focused policing, and technology, we're seeing some of the highest reductions across multiple categories. That kind of progress does not happen by accident. It happens when officers and detectives are given time, staffing, and support to do the work that doesn't always make headlines, but delivers real results. It happens when specialized units are able to collaborate across divisions, share intelligence, and stay focused long enough to address repeat offenders rather than just respond to the next call. From a policy perspective, that's the lesson I take from these end-of-the-year numbers. When we invest in LAPD the right way by supporting our investigative capacity, our accountability, and coordination, we don't just see short-term improvements. We see more consistent enforcement, fewer repeat crimes, and greater stability in the communities that have been hit the hardest. As chair of the city's Committee on Public Safety, my responsibility is to help make sure that this progress lasts. That means continuing to support the men and women of the LAPD department while also asking the right questions about deployment, resources, and outcomes. So the success we are seeing in my community can be experienced across the city of Los Angeles. Thank you, Chief, for having me here today.
Well, thank you very much. I'd also like to thank everyone you see behind me, the leadership of the organization, who work tirelessly to provide the support necessary to be able to accomplish our mission. To our professional staff and sworn throughout the organization, it is one big team working together against all odds, it seems, in some cases, and yet they step up and take on whatever challenge comes their way. So thank you. And again, I thank all of you for being able to help share this good news with residents and those interested parties across Los Angeles. Let me open it up to any questions you might have. Eric?
Nationally, a lot of big cities are seeing this multi-year, pretty significant decline. What's your sense of what's going on? I mean, LA had this significant increase in recent memory,
Yeah.
and your department is doing whatever it's doing with fewer people. And
Yeah.
what's your sense of the big picture of why this is happening?
Yeah, I look at it, and there's a lot of people looking at that across the country, police professionals, academics, and others who study the field. And there's no definitive answer, just my own experience. Post-2020, there was a movement where police were not supported throughout the nation, and we saw people step away from the profession. We saw people hesitant to interact. The level of proactive policing became much more reactive, and when that happens, you see crime go up, generally speaking. We have seen our officers here re-engage and be able to get back in. The level of proactive policing, I cited the Gang and Narcotics Division. They made 300 murder arrests this past year, just one crime alone in one unit. And it just shows that they're out there every day working these cases across the board. Everybody plays their own role and jumps in. But I think just to look at it from a national level, I think there's a re-engagement that had been missing for a period of time. And I'm hopeful that we will be able to continue with the results we've seen in 2025. And we're working against tough numbers this year, but my hope is we're currently trending in the right direction. My hope is that continues. Thank you. Sir?
Can I ask you, what specific things did you do, your department did, to help bring down homicide?
We, as I mentioned, you look at the work, and I go back to the gun seizures that were made, the homicide arrests that were made, over 300 homicide arrests. Tells a story of people who are out there committing crimes. There's a relatively small number of people who commit an inordinate amount of crime. By being able to hold them accountable, get them in custody, and take them off the streets, we have an impact far beyond the arrest for that individual crime. We have an impact that is much broader and saves a lot of lives. So the more proactive we can be and the more people we can take off who are career criminals, particularly the shooters out there, the greater impact we have on our violent crime picture. And I attribute the numbers we saw today. And I put in context, just for those who are not aware, that 230 homicides is 230 too many. But I go back to 1993, our high year, we had almost 1,100 homicides in the city of LA. So the reduction there of 75+% is something we should be celebrating and building on. And I think too often the community doesn't appreciate the partnership that we enjoy with them and the impact that that has on crime and the success that we can see as a result. So public safety is a team sport, and we need everybody to be on the team.
Chief, Rick
Sir.
from CBS LA.
Yep.
What, if any, can you say impact there's been from the immigration raids that have happened around the city on the crime that we see?
Yeah, you know, we were worried that when we saw the immigration enforcement actions, that people would be hesitant to report crimes. And for us, our posture has been, since 1979, it's been policy, we don't, as an organization, engage in civil immigration enforcement. We talk about that all the time in every forum we can get into so that the public in Los Angeles trust the LAPD, that they can come forward if they're a victim or a witness to a crime. If they're fearful of doing that, our system falls apart. The gangs and others who take advantage of people take advantage of someone's immigration status to continuously prey on them or that community. So we have been successful now for 50+ years in taking the posture we've taken. Our fear when we saw what happened this summer that would change, we've tried as best we can to monitor the numbers, and we don't believe that there's been a substantial impact. We're still getting reports, particularly domestic violence cases that we were most fearful of, and other cases. So while there may have been some a lack of reporting, I think we're on track, going in the right direction, and trying to regain support in communities that might have waned or been lost. And we're out there talking to people in churches and on Spanish-speaking radio, on other language radio stations, to be able to let people know what the LAPD's role is and what it's not. Thank you for that.
When it comes to those realignment efforts, is this a short-term plan? I mean, I know it's based on budget and resources,
Yeah.
but is this something you will continue long-term? And how do you backfill the positions that you're filling away to put them in patrols? How do you fill those?
No, great question. It is a long-term strategy. We are not going to get a substantial number of new officers anytime soon. When I look at our current budget, we're not keeping up with attrition. So we're going to have to continuously adapt to the circumstances we face. I have complete confidence in this organization that as we move forward, whatever challenge comes our way, we will find a way to handle it either within or with our public safety partners. But it's something that we can't say, a date certain, we're going to reinstill this unit or that unit, that we're maintaining all of the units in the department that we can in order to be able to address all of the needs of the community, and not say we no longer investigate this type of crime or that. But we don't have as robust a unit, a division, or a bureau dealing with these issues than we had previously. My hope is, as we get healthy down the road, that we'll be able to redeploy people into the places where, whenever that time comes, what our biggest issues are. Our best leverage is working in task force configurations with federal, state, and local partners to be able to address the needs of the day. As you saw last week in the press conference we did with our Gang and Narcotics Division, working with the FBI and DEA and U.S. Attorney's Office, we're able to take a very, very violent and serious drug dealer into custody in Mexico. And so it's efforts like that that have such a big impact on Los Angeles. This guy was shipping 60 tons of cocaine through Los Angeles a year for distribution throughout the United States and to Canada. And so being able to have an impact on that has an impact on violence. It has a multi-layered impact on everything that we do. So we greatly value the relationships that we have with our partners, and we'll continue to use those to keep people safe right here in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Chief Jamie from California Post, what is your reaction to the chaos that transpired at Tuesday's police commission meeting?
Frustration. That is something that we see sadly every Tuesday, as well as the City Council deals with the situation that you became aware of this past Tuesday. The disruption we see, the vile conduct in there, is very, very frustrating to anybody who attends. It has a chilling effect on people from the community who want to come and be heard. They're afraid to come. They're intimidated by some of the agitators who show up every week at our meetings. The big frustration is not being able to do anything about it. It's, we're told by legal counsel that they're protected by the First Amendment in their activities and are using that and exploiting that to their benefit, but at the expense of the residents of Los Angeles and the process. It was designed, the system was designed, the commission was designed to provide civilian oversight for the police department. If people from the community are fearful of coming forward because of the behavior at these meetings, then we're defeating our purpose. Thank you.
Just go back to the staffing issue you were just addressing with the reorganization. You've had the Band-Aid of overtime.
Right.
It'll solve a lot of problems, and if I understood the council stuff I was reading recently, there's gonna be some caps on that.
Right.
How's that gonna affect things?
Yeah, it will. Certainly, we are with the number of officers that we have, the number of civilian professional staff, we are working as hard as we can, and our people have stepped up and done a tremendous job. But there comes a time where you've hit the wall, and you just don't have the people to be able to move around and hit. So we supplement those efforts with overtime money. As the overtime money becomes less available, we're going to have to pull back from some of the things that we need to do, that we want to do, and that's a day-to-day management decisions that'll affect how that looks. The people behind me here every day are playing chess with those accounts to try and get the maximum we can out of the money that we have to spend. So certainly any additional support we can get from the city family, our focus is to be able to provide a foundation of protection for everybody who lives and visits Los Angeles. And my feeling is that public safety is government's primary responsibility, that if you don't have public safety in a city, then everything else suffers as a result.
Chief Victor Cordero with Univision.
Hi, sir.
This message is getting to every household, every person has social media.
Right.
And unfortunately, that includes some of the criminals in the city.
Yep.
What would be your message to them when you say that you will not have more police officers in the near future?
Yeah, thank you for that.
Opportunity for them to say that's our chance to.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. You know, the beauty of this organization is that we have been understaffed for my 44 years, 45 years in the business in this area, but yet we continue to stand up and see. We have half the officer-to-population ratio as our partner cities in New York and Chicago, yet we have made it work. You look at these results that we've come out with so few officers. There's a work ethic here. There's a proactive approach. There's a fire in the belly that we go out there and we take care of business because we're protecting people. We're preventing victims from being victims, and we're helping families enjoy a lifestyle where they can send their kids to school safely. So we work very, very hard at it. The message to criminals is, you know, nobody gets a pass. We are coming after those who are abusing, exploiting other people. We will move our resources around from one day to the next, one area to the next, one type of crime to the next, but we don't give up on anything, and our focus and our goal and our mission is to keep everybody as safe as we possibly can in the city. Thank you for that.
Natalie with Breaking News. Would love to ask you if you plan on enforcing the mask ban on federal agents, if that's where you're still employed.
Yeah, that when you take a step back from that, that's the issue of the day. The reality of one armed agency approaching another armed agency to create conflict over something that would be a misdemeanor at best or an infraction, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a good public policy decision, and it wasn't well thought out in my opinion. You look across the country, you see the things that are happening. We are in line with our federal partners on everything except immigration enforcement. What we've seen since June here in Los Angeles and seen across the country, we're as frustrated as everybody else about the way that's being done. And hopefully we've seen here in the past couple of days some, I'm very hopeful, some reconciliation as far as reapproaching strategy and tactics that are being deployed to get a better outcome overall. You know, we look at 50 years of developing relationships with our immigrant communities. That is critically important to us. And to have that threatened in any way is something that's sad to see. And we certainly will work hard to rebuild those relationships.
We have time
Thank
for
you.
one more question, if there is one. If not, we're going to transition, and we'll do Spanish following this.
Chief, quickly, you spoke about the sentiment about police state in 2024, 5 years ago. It's been a taxing year 2025 between the fires and the protests.
Yeah.
Do you have a general sense of how the officers feel, how the last year has gone, especially with this kind of renewed sense of pushback against authority or law enforcement, maybe not specifically local police,
Right.
but just in general.
Yeah, you know, I try and get a pulse as best I can of the officers in the field and how they're feeling. My feeling is, and I may not be the best judge of this, is that morale is a lot better than it was a year ago, and I think that's evidenced as well by our best recruiters are our own people. Recruitment is up 27%, so we're in a good position there. Our hiring process have been streamlined, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work through that with the personnel department. And so we have people who want to be Los Angeles police officers again. The budget does not support what we'd like to see. I'm hopeful we'll be able to get some help on that moving forward. But I think there is a kind of a renewed sense of hope for the profession, that we're going in the right direction. We went through some awful times. I look at 2020 and 2021 and the several years after that, even up to today, as being similar to what it was for the military back in the 60s, late 60s, coming back from Vietnam. We weren't supported, were demonized in many cases, and as a result, in the military, you saw recruitment tank, and we saw very similar results here. And over time, then, I think there becomes an appreciation, a different perspective by the public, different presentation by the media as to what's going on relative to public safety issues. And so I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, and I think officers feel the same way. So hopefully we can all work together in the months and years ahead and be able to restore that feeling of the importance of safety, the respect for individuals within our society, and try and, as best we can, lower the level of violence in communities across our city and around the nation.
And quickly for tomorrow, is there plan ahead of this ice out, there's planned protests and walkouts across the city? I imagine you guys are aware and planning.
Yeah, I know all of these. We work very closely with our partners across the region and around the nation. We have the Joint Regional Intelligence Center that is kind of a clearinghouse for what we're hearing and what's going on the web. And we get out there, we have our incident management teams that we stand up to be able to manage major events across the city. They are specialists in what they do. So yeah, we're ready for whatever comes our way, and we redeploy resources all the time to be as effective as we can and be as nimble as we can. Today with social media, you can have a planned protest one place, and then that's changed on social media. Within a matter of minutes, you could have a crowd somewhere you couldn't have anticipated at all. So flexibility and mobility are critical components to us keeping everybody safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
We have
Appreciate you.
limited